This is going to be a quick tutorial on how to use the Building Designer. So from here we've got a few different standard options. So you've got a gable with some lean-tos and an extension already on it. Single slope, same thing, and a single slope that's got a couple doors and a lean-to. Got a monitor barn and industrial, which is just a little bigger in size. So in this case I'll click on gable, and the first thing that pops up here on my left hand side are the dimensions. So from there I'll go through and type in my building width, which is 40, tab over to my length, we'll assume it's a 60, height, let's do a 16-foot eave, and then roof type. So if I wanted a different roof than what I had selected, I can do gable, single slope, or gambrel. In this case I'm going to stick with the gable. And then roof pitch, we'll go with the 2-on-12. This will be a little more of an affordable building. From there I'll click on edit and I can select my wall color. Let's do a polar white wall. I can select my roof color. Let's do a coal black roof, and my trim color. We will do black trim. So then my 3D model here has been updated. Overhangs. So if I want to have an overhang, this is going to update it for the entire building. So let's say I want to have a 2-foot overhang. So this goes through and puts a 2-foot overhang around the entire building. So you've got it on your side walls and your end walls. Sheeting profile, so in this case we're going to do PBR in a 26 gauge. Whether or not we want a wainscot, if we do want a wainscot, how tall we want the wainscot. So let's do a 6-foot wainscot to really pop, and then we will do that in coal black as well. Roof only bays, so this will be if you want an extension. So a lot of times we'll see this for a carport. So end wall A is this end wall right here that's facing me. End wall B is on the back side. So end wall A, we will go through and have one bay. This will automatically do it based on the bay sizing that is selected here. So with every change in length, it's going to assume uniform bays. So 60 foot, it assumes 3 20-foot bays. If we had a 75-foot, it would assume 3 25-foot bays, so on and so forth. So it's basically going to assume a bay size of an even number, or an even number of bays. What is the right way of saying that? It's going to assume that you have equal bays, and the bay spacing is going to be somewhere between 20 and 25 feet. Okay, so we've made it through all of that. We've got our carport here on the front. So then we're going to go to the lean-tos, and our lean-to is just going to be a click here on sidewall A or sidewall B if we want to add a lean-to. So we're going to add a lean-to here. It automatically assumes that you want to go all the way across. Same thing here. So in this case, if we want to keep it all the way across, we're fine. If we want to do individual bays, then we'll go here and we'll just select which bays we do or do not want it on. So let's assume that we want it there. Our width is going to be 15 foot, and then our height, this is going to be the height, the eave height of the lean-to itself. So let's do a 10-foot eave, and then the roof pitch, we are going to do a 1-on-12 roof pitch. So it'll come out looking something like that. And we'll be able to go through and update whether or not we want these walls open in one of the next few tabs. So we're done with lean-tos. In this case we added one lean-to. Openings, let's go through and just add a roll-up door, 10 by 10 in polar white. We'll add one there and add a personnel door. Add here. With a 40-foot wide building, it assumes that we're going to have a column in the middle, so it splits these 50-50. I will show you how, if you want that door to be centered in the building, so you want to have 3 bays, I can show you how to do that as well. Okay, so we've made it through our openings, open bays. So we're going to go through and say we want this lean-to be open to the exterior. So on each one of these walls, we've got a plus if we want to add sheeting, or a minus if we want to remove it. So we're going to go through and remove it on each one of these. So now we've got an open lean-to. So we've got our main building here, which is a 40 by 40. We've got our carport extension here, which is 40 feet wide and 20 feet deep. and then we've got our lean-to here, which is 15 feet wide, and it extends the 40-foot width of our enclosed building here. Mezzanine, this is if you want a second story. If you want it, then it's just going to ask how tall you want it. In this case, we're going to assume no mezzanine. Same thing with the mezzanine, though. If we wanted to go through and remove it from certain bays, we're just going through and hitting the minus. So if we wanted the mezzanine just in the back, we would go through and select that. If we want to go back to edit, back in edit is where we can go through and change something that I was going to show, but can't remember off the top of my head. Props, nothing crazy here. This is just if you want to go through and show, you know, random little, like if you wanted to park your 18-wheeler under here, it'd be kind of tight. Car's going to fit just fine. 20-foot 18-wheelers, maybe not so much. From here, we can go back to our view, and if we wanted to get pictures of it, we can go through and get screenshots. You can take a look. So here in the options, if you just wanted to see framing only, you didn't want to see what the sheeting looks like, well, here's what our framing looks like. So we've got some framing around our walk door opening, some framing for our roll-up door here, and this shows our main columns for our building. So we've got columns along the back, that center column, and then the column here that supports that end wall for the closed section of the building. We've got our column here for our carport. Same thing here, got a column and rafter for our lean-to, and then it matches up with the column and rafter that we've got in that main building. Dimensions, so if you don't want to show any dimensions, or if you want to toggle your props on and off. That is most of the tool. Now I remember the other thing I was going to show. So on edit, when you click edit, you've also got the option to come through and you will see a pencil. So when you click on that pencil, it gives you the option to edit that specific thing that you're clicking on. So like in this case, it says edit sidewall B, so I'll click on that. And if I want to change a specific bay spacing, that's where I'll go through. And let's say that I still want the building to be 40 by 60, but this extension, I only want it to be 15 foot long. So I will go through and specify my bay size, and I will make that bay 15 feet. And then it goes through and updates it. So now my enclosed portion is 40 wide and 45 deep, and my carport here is 15 feet deep. So let's return here. And the other thing I can do, so in this case I decided I wanted that door in the middle, so I'm going to go through and my end wall spacing here, I'm going to make that 10. My spacing here, I'm going to make that 10. So now, in theory, oh no, gotta go back. This thing does put up a fight from time to time. Let's see. Oh, that's wrong. This should be 20. There we go. Okay, so now I've got 10 here, 20 here, 10 here. So when I go through and add my openings, let's do a roll-up door, and I want it to be a 12 by 14. It will now let me go through and add it right in the center of the building. Alright, thanks for watching. Feel free to reach out if you've got any questions related to the tool itself. If you need a quote, then you would just go through and type in to get a quote. From there, you'll type in your first name, last name. The site address helps a ton. For sure, we've always got to have the zip code because that helps us calculate the required wind loads and snow loads for your particular area. And then phone number and email address is just contact info for you. Most of the time we try and get back to people within 2 or 3 days. Sometimes, depending on our current quote backlog, it may take up to about a week to get you a quote, but it's normally a pretty good process. So you would go through and just fill out this information, click submit, and it'll send me an email, and we'll get you added to the quote queue and get a quote your way.